Howdy folks, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3, Combined Game Playthrough number 2. This will be the May-June 1939 turn. Last turn we saw the Soviets do the Nomonanahan incident. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. And a whole lot of nothing going on in China except some maneuvering. Even the Japanese, both the Japanese and the Chinese were maneuvering around, trying to reposition themselves a little bit. Europe's been quiet so far, but who knows how long that's going to last. The major powers that wanted to gear up have finished their gear ups. So let's move on and let's go take a look at starting money for the major powers. Okay. Starting money. That's the wrong turn. Okay, now we have the right turn. Okay, starting money. We have Germany at 2, Japan at 1, Italy at 1, USSR at -2, Commonwealth at -3, France at -2, the USA at -3, and China at -4. Now I've looked to see what the major powers want to do for this turn, and I put in some bids for the major powers. I think what they basically approximately feel they need to do. So we have the bidding at the USSR is bidding 1, Germany is bidding 3 but wants to do 2 options. Italy is bidding 2, the USA is bidding 1, and the Commonwealth is bidding 1. So let's go over to the initiative track and see how this pans out. Okay, we have the Soviet Union bidding 1. They're going to get a +4 for their first place position. That gives them a total of 5. That's going to put them in first. The Germans are bidding 3. They're going to get +3 for their second place position. That gives them a total of 6. However, they're trying for 2 options again. And that's divided by 2, so that's a total of 3. The Italians are bidding 2. They're getting 1 for their 7th place position. That's going to give them a total of 3. The Americans are bidding 1. They're going to get 2 for their 4th place position from last turn. That's going to give them a total of 3. So, to break the tie, we go over to the political effectiveness track. We see that Germany has the highest political effectiveness of the 3 major powers, so they will be in second. The Americans are at 2 with a -1, puts them at 1, and the Italians are at 3, so the Italians will break that tie and advance into third. The Americans will be 4th, and the Commonwealth bidding 1 gets a +1 for their 6th place position from last turn, so that's 2. That will put them in at 5. So the last card is on the Soviets, and the last card is on the Commonwealth. Now for the non-bidding major powers, we have China at 3. That's going to put them in at 6. We have Japan at a +2. That's going to put them in at 7th. And France at 8. That's 0. So that is the political order for this turn. Alright, let's go check and see what the Soviets have in mind. Okay, we're at that point in the game that the Soviets are going to propose a level 1 treaty with Germany. Now, both Germany and the Soviets have negotiated this treaty and what they would like to see in it. And the treaty looks something like this. We're going to call it the Molly-Rib Treaty. So the Soviets will get free reign in the Baltic states, Bessarabia, and will be giving Eastern Poland after the conquest of Poland. They still must DoW for each though. Germany, for their part of the treaty are going to receive 2 resources and 1 oil per turn. The other concession the Germans are getting is that the Soviets must break their alliance with Yugoslavia. And that's about it. So it's both the Germans feel it's a good treaty and the Soviets feel it's a good treaty, because you wouldn't really want to be the Soviets, have Germany take out Poland, and have German units here. That would be really bad. You're better off having them back here. So the Soviets kind of happy with that. I don't do anything. It's going to cost them 4 money, but I don't do anything until we get to Germany's turn to see if Germany has a chance to accept the treaty. So we'll roll a die. Okay, rolled over there, but roll a 3. So the marker will move down to Germany. The Germans, for one of their 2 political options, are going to play their, I believe it is OF, accept the proposal. Let's see what it is. I believe, yeah, oh, yeah, it's 0F. Agree to a proposal. I had it half right. Agree to a proposal. That's this one right here. Doesn't cost Germany any money. Agree to the proposal. I will go put out the minor country influence. The other thing that the treaty stipulates is that the Soviets and Germans are going to split the U.S. entry. So half to the Germans and half to the Soviets, with any rounding going towards the Soviets. Okay, so I'll do that, and I'll come back with the Soviets activating a minor. Now the Soviets get to activate a minor, and the Soviets are, for some reason, paranoid about Turkey getting anywhere as close to the fascists. So they're going to activate Turkey just to get rid of that -2 Soviet marker. Let's go over here and check this out and explain why they actually did this. We got the -1 Italian and the -2 Soviet. Okay, the reasoning behind the Soviets' decision to activate Turkey is we do have a -2 here, and the Soviet marker is over here in the communist ideology. So by activating it, it's going to cost 2 for the marker to move into this hex. However, it would be crossing a boundary, so it would cost an extra 1. So that the -2 is not enough to move the Turkish marker into the fascist ideology, which is what the Soviets really don't want to happen. So the -2 just basically gets blown off. And obviously the -1 Italian is not going to do anything, so it gets blown off as well. So now Germany has to roll a die to see if she ends her political phase before she gets her second option. A 6 does not end the political phase. So Germany will now get a chance to do a second option. And the option they're going to do is they're going to do a minor economic agreement. And I think we've all seen that before several times. Yeah, that's this one right here. Minor economic agreement. Costs 4 money. The major power signing agreement has to have an initiative position lower than the minor's willpower. And the minor's Turkey's willpower, who that's the minor they're going to sign the agreement with, is 4. So Germany's in position 2, so that they satisfy the prerequisite. And they're going to sign that for 1 of Turkey's 2 resources. So that's going to put a +1 in Turkey for the political influence. And I think the minor, now Germany will get to activate a minor. Okay, grab the +1 marker for Turkey. All right, well, Germany really doesn't want to activate Turkey. With one, it's not going to do anything. So the minor they're thinking about activating is Sweden. No, I'm sorry, Finland, not Sweden, but Finland. So we'll grab the markers. We have a -4 Soviet there and a +7 German. So this ought to have some, we ought to get some good movement out of this. So let's put the markers out. We have a +7 German and a -4 Soviet. I think we'll do the Soviet first. It's going to drive the Finnish marker this way, basically. 2, 4. That takes care of this, the 4 Soviet. Now, the 7 German. It's going to cost 2 for this hex and 1 for the boundary. So that's 3. Okay, there's 4 left. Now, Finland is going to be moving towards a major power that can control the minor. So it's going to be -1 per hex for doing that. Now it's going to be 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary, 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary. So 3 and 3, -1 from each for moving towards a major power that can control the minor, brings the cost down to 2, 4. And that's exactly what Germany has left. And Germany stacks yet another minor underneath her marker. And that's been the goal of the Germans all along, is to get as many minor powers as they can underneath their marker. All right, now we got to roll the die to see if Germany ends the political phase. So there's been 2 options played. So there's going to be a -2 to this die. It's not going to make the Italians, the Americans, or the Commonwealth very happy. Oh, and that's it. Political phase is over. So the Italians, the Americans, and the Commonwealth will get bonus bid points for next turn. Okay, I got to note down some stuff that's happened, and then I will be right back with initiative, weather, and taking a look at the reinforcements for the turn. Okay, let's roll initiative. This ought to be pretty interesting. And put the initiative marker back on the one box. All right, remember we got white for the fascists, blue for the Democrats, and red for the communists. Here we go. So we got, let's take a quick look at the die roll modifiers before we check that out. We have +2 for the fascists, +1 for the communists, and a -1 for the Democrats. The communists move from the 0 box to the +1 box because the Democrats ended the turn. Okay, so we have a +1 for the communists, that's a 7. We have a +2 for the fascists, that's a 6. And we have a -1 for the Democrats, that's a 5. So the fascists kind of think that, well, you know, May, June can be a really odd turn. It could be, the weather should be pretty good, I think. So the fascists want to go first. And that's okay, because the Democrats and the communists will go second and third. They're okay with that. So the fascists are going to go first, followed by the Democrats, with the communists bringing up the rear. And that is initiative. Now, there's no modifier to the weather roll, so let's go and see what we get for wonderful weather. It's an 8. Can't see that, I don't think. Right there. An 8 in May, June is fair weather everywhere. The impulse marker moves up 1. There's no modifier to the weather roll for next turn. So the impulse marker is going to move up 1 per impulse. And it's fair weather everywhere. The Japanese are happy about that. They like that idea. All right, let's go check out what we're getting for reinforcements for the major powers. This is the May-June turn. So, well, we got a pile of ships here. Let's see what we got. We got the Maryland. That will be going on the board. We got the Andrea Doria. That will be going on the board. We got the King George V. That will be going on the board. The Queen Elizabeth will be going on the board. And the Peter Strasser will be going on the board. So we have a bunch of ships going on the board. Oh, we also have a Edinburgh or the Commonwealth going on the board. We have the Admiral Hipper going on the board for the Germans. There was definitely a pile of ships. And for the Japanese, we have a light cruiser going in the construction pool. He will go in the construction pool someplace. There. All right. Let's see what else we got. We got a convoy point. That will be going into the Commonwealth's convoy point horde. We got a pilot for the Italians. We'll adjust the marker there. We have ACAC for the Soviets. That will be probably going in Moscow, I would say. We have a sub for the Germans, and we have a couple of motorized brigade, an infantry corps, and a twin-engine land bomber, all going on the map for the Germans. The Germans will definitely put the bomber on the map, and we'll expend the pilot for that. Do that right now. Oh, and we also have a French, looks like a twin-engine fighter. Sort of okay one, PO-63, whatever. So they will put that on the map. We have a Cav Corps for the Nationalist Chinese and an infantry army for the Nationalist Chinese, which they are very happy to get that. So I will get these reinforcements put on the map. I have to adjust the London Naval Treaty ratios. And I think when I come back, we're going to go over U.S. entry and do a review of that real quick. Okay, here we are, Impulse 1. This will be the fascist impulse. Okay, so for Japan, Japan has no port attacks, no naval air missions, no naval movement, other than they should have put their transport back in their port at the end of the last turn. No naval combat, no strategic bombardment, but we do have a ground strike. We do have a ground strike. We're going to try and ground strike Changsha. And there's 2 units there. We have a whole 1 point. And so the red die will be the top. There are no Chinese fighters left, so the red die will be the top one. The green will be the bottom one. Okay, so the green is actually flipped over. So that, I believe, I said that was the bottom one. That's this one. So that is flipped over. The airplane. We're paying oil as we go. This is a combined. I looked up when Japan did the Peking Bridge incident, and that was July, August 1937. So 12 turns will have elapsed as of next turn, as of the July, August 1939 turn, and then Japan can pick any action she wants. Okay. So, Japan, come back to China. So, Japan has decided that she's going to attack this hex right here. There's 8 points there, and Japan has 16 here. That's 10, 6 is 16, and she has 11 here. So, that's 27 to 8 is a 3-to-1. We will use HQ benefits. I don't think There's actually, if you can see it, there's a lake right here. So that prevents Chang from using his HQ benefits. However, it wouldn't make a difference anyways, because he's a 1 and he's a 3, and it's 1 minus the other divided by 4 rounded, and 3 minus 1 is 2, divided by 4 is 0.5 rounded, it rounds to 1. So it's still going to get a +1, so no sense in flipping Chang over for no reason whatsoever. So we're going to have a 3-to-1, we're going to have a +1 for the HQ benefits, and a +1 for a flipped unit, for a total of +2. We'll take a look at 3-to-1. The Chinese are going to choose the assault table. Well, it's not super bad. The Japanese could choke again. They seem to be pretty good at doing that. So let's see what we get for a die roll. So we got 3-to-1, +2. Oh, 9. Ooh, that's bad. That's bad. 3-to-1 on the assault table. Let's see if we can take a look at that. A 9, which becomes a 11, is star 2S. So 2 units killed. The remaining shattered, there's no remaining. And the star means no Japanese units are flipped over. So that's a big victory for Japan in the southern Chinese region. Alright, I'll put these in the cadre. Now Japan's got to decide what she's going to occupy the hex with. I would say she probably wants to go in with the militia, at the least, and probably the 3 infantry and the artillery unit. That was a pretty big attack for Japan, but if you notice, the Japanese line is getting a little thin. They really don't have to worry about counterattacks from the communists right now, because the counterattacks would be like 1-to-1 or at the very best 2-to-1. So anyway, that's basically the end, I think. Air rebases. Okay, we're going to rebase the fighter. We're going to rebase him down here just because we can. And no, that will actually cost Japan an oil. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We'll leave him right there. Alright, so I think Japan's done. And now we're going to move over to Europe. So Germany has finally decided to pull the trigger, sort of. They're going to declare war on Denmark. Okay? I have already paid for it. I've already put all the minor power influence markers, and I've already recorded the U.S. entry. But before we go any further, I said that I wanted to go over the current U.S. entry levels. So, before this occurs, the entry level for Germany was 15.5. That is a reduction of 1 point from 16.5, which was the last time we checked it. The U.S. entry for Italy is -7. That is a reduction from -5 from the last time we checked it. And the Japanese U.S. entry is an 11. And that is a slight reduction from last turn, since the last time we checked it, which was 11.5. Now, that might sound strange, but you have to remember that diplomatic activity by the other major powers influences U.S. entry too. And we had a U.S. gear up, which was a substantial amount. We had a Chinese gear up, which was a good amount. We've had, the Soviet gear up, and I think that was it. U.S., Soviet. Well, anyways, that all affects it. And when all these other major powers sign treaties, that also affects it. So U.S. entry, even though it kind of looks like it went down, it probably should have. But as things ramp up, like this turn right here, I have Germany attacking Denmark. That added a total of 6 to the German U.S. entry total. It was 4 for the declaration of war and 2 for Denmark itself. So that will be influencing how the U.S. entry is calculated. Anyway, okay, so let's get on with this. So Germany's going to take a combined impulse, because this is a minor, so she's not at war with any major powers. And that gives her 5 land moves. The Danes actually have no ground forces defending Denmark. They have a militia unit that can come on the board next turn if they happen to, or during their impulse if they happen to survive, which they're not going to. So we're going to take the 1-4. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That occupies Copenhagen. And the Met Corps is going to go 1, 2, overrun the fleet, 3, 4, 5. And Denmark is basically toast. So I have to roll for all these ships. Basically, they can get captured. I believe it's on a 1, they're captured. A 2, 3, 4, they're scuttled. A 5 or better, they can escape to a neighboring major power that's allied to the Danes, but there's none of those. So basically, if they're not captured, they're going to get scuttled. The other thing I wanted to address was, now Denmark has territories outside of Denmark itself. They have Iceland and Greenland. The rules, they have the incomplete conquest. I just don't like those rules. I think they're just, I just don't think they have any use, really. So of the 3 minor countries that have colonies, they're Denmark, they're the Netherlands, and they're Belgium. I'm going to handle each of them separately and probably differently. For the Netherlands, for example, when the Netherlands is conquered, the Netherlands East Indies is going to become its own separate entity. For Denmark, Iceland and Greenland are going to become neutral until the Commonwealth is at war with Germany, in which case they're going to become Commonwealth territories. And at some point, I believe the U.S. takes them over, and it's 43 and garrisons them. Anyways, the Germans are not going to be going to either Iceland or Greenland because they'll never be able to supply any troops there. So I can't see how it makes any difference. Just to say the British are going to take over jurisdictional authority on those territories and call it good. The Belgian Congo, that will probably go to France, and then it will be adjudicated. If France is vitiated or conquered, it will be adjudicated at that point where the Belgian Congo ends up. So I just wanted to elaborate on how I'm handling these minor countries that have colonies. It just seems to me using the incomplete conquest rules is just a pain in the butt. So anyways, we got some ships to roll for. We got a destroyer. No, it's not a destroyer. Is it a destroyer? It's a light cruiser. I think this is also a light cruiser. We have 3 convoy points, and we have a convoy point and 2 tankers. So it's going to be basically rolling dice for each of them. So we're going to start. We'll roll 2 dice at a time. We'll start with this one. This will be red, green. So they're both sunk. I'm going to go back in the baggie. And again, red, green, left to right. And again, they're all gone. So basically the Danish fleet was scuttled in port. And Denmark will be conquered after this turn, so it won't really matter at that point. So, okay, so now I will move forward and do the Democrats' turn. And we'll probably go back to China. I don't see the Commonwealth or... Well, the Commonwealth has a transport to move, but I don't see the... I'll have to look at the French, but we're going to head back to China. So the Chinese will be taking a land impulse, and this is not pretty. This is not pretty at all. I'm not quite sure how the Chinese are going to get out of this. They have these two hexes they have to manage to get some units into. So I think Chang is going to have to move. The good thing is that either of these two hexes can only be attacked from one hex, this one. So Chang, yep, Chang got to move. Chang's going to move to here. He's going to bring this guy with him. That's 6, but it's 12 in the mountains. It's pretty safe. The cav here, forest, for leg units in the Pacific is 3 points. So this is going to be 2-5 for this guy to get there. He's actually going to end up flipped over too. This is not a good situation for China in this area. They're going to move here. And I think they got to move one of these. 3-3 obviously can get there, so that's okay. That 3 points is 6. That's probably going to die next. So does China retreat from this hex? Do, and he's got to go here. He can go here, and that will seal up the line again. I think this 4-1 is going to move down here with the Chungking militia. Oh boy. I think that's what we're going to have to do, I think. Yep. So this guy's going to go here. I hate doing this. No. We're going to leave him there. That's 6 points. The Japanese can get 14, I believe, here. I believe that is a 6. Yes. So it's 14, 15, 16. 22 to 6. It's a 3-1. Moving anything here is going to flip that over. They've used their, 3-1. I don't know if they would. I don't know. That would be 4. Would be 22 to 8 would be a 2-1, a +1. No, we're going to leave them there. All right. I think that's about it for China. For the Democrats. Okay, we'll move some communists. Let's see, commies. Oh boy. We got some problems. I can't take over this hex yet. So I think this guy's going to go here. He, unfortunately, is going to flip over. Actually, let's put him here. And this guy will go here into Xi'an. The Japanese are stretched pretty thin, but so aren't the Chinese. The communists are the best part of the line here. And that I believe is typical. Okay, so that's the end of the communists. Let's go roll weather. Remember the May-June turn can actually have some really funky weather. So we're back to the fascists. We'll roll weather. A 6, I believe that's pretty good weather. Okay, it's rain and north monsoon. Nothing else changes. Unfortunately for the Japanese, most of their activity is in the north monsoon. So it's not going to be any attacks. So I believe the fascists will be done as of right now. And we'll move on to the Democrats. The Germans are moving a few units around in their line over there. And that's about all they're doing. The Democrats, I think this is going to go here. Oh no, it's rain, so we can't. We don't want to move anything that's going to flip over now. So we're good. And then that moves us to the communists. The communists are good. That will move us to back to the fascists. And we will roll weather again. Now, we'll see what the weather roll is. Uh-oh, that's bad. So the weather roll for May, June is snow in the Arctic, storm in the North Temperate, rain, storm, storm, storm. The impulse marker moves up 2 and there's a +2 to the weather roll. So I'm going to just run through this set of impulses, and if the weather doesn't improve, I'll just keep going until something can possibly happen. So I ran through that really bad set of impulses, and I got to impulse 11, which is the communist impulse. It's the first impulse that you can roll to end the turn, which is a 1. The communist passed, which subtracts 1 from the die, and they rolled a 2. So the turn is over. I'm going to roll for, well, let's do that right now. We can roll for partisans. See if anything happens. We'll take the die. Where's the partisan? Okay, we got a 3. So 3 is Belgium, Spain, Finland, France, Yugoslavia, Portugal, Indochina, Japan, USSR. So the only possible one is Indochina. And that is a French colony. It's down here. See, the partisan value is right here. Okay, and I think it's half that if they're not at war. Okay. You roll a die, basically, and if you get more than a 3, there's no partisans. Okay, the French rolled a lovely 9, so there will be no partisans there, so there's no partisans. So now we will roll U.S. entry for Japan. I think I made a mistake on this one. There should have been a -1 to the die, but an 11 or 10 is the same because there's a factory there. So the result is the same for, it's over here. Excuse me. I forgot to subtract 1 because there's a factory in that hex. We rolled a 9 on the 3 to 1, I believe, assault table. That was a 4 to 1. Whatever it was. It becomes a 10. It's the same result. Excuse me. Anyways, it didn't affect the outcome of the battle. And nothing else happened after that. So, all right. So we are rolling for U.S. entry. So Japan rolls for U.S. entry. There's a -1 to the die. Well, that's a pretty good die roll for U.S. entry. That will be a +2 for Japan. Which is, U.S. likes that. U.S. likes that a lot. Okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to calculate the production and see what the major powers want to build. And I will come back with the results of that. Okay, production looks something like this. For the U.S., the U.S. produced 10. They started with 6. They sent one build point Lend-Lease to China. So that's a total of 5, and they spent 6. They spent 6. For the Germans produced 17, started with 9, and spent 0. The Japanese produced 14, Started with 15. Spent 15. They got the Yamato. That's her second round. They got a amphibious core, an HQ, and a convoy point. The Italians produced 7, started with 6, and spent 5. A amphibious unit and a transport. The USSR produced 7, started with 0, spent 0. The Commonwealth produced 12, started with 8, and spent 10. They're building Wavell, a pilot. That's actually 11. They spent 11. A pilot and a convoy point. The French produced 6, started with 4 and spent 6. They're an infantry corps and a mechanized division, I believe. Yes, a mechanized division. And the Chinese produced 4. Got 1 from Lend-Lease and 2 from Cadres. So that's a total of 7. They started with 3 and they spent 6. A militia division and a communist mountain army. Well, that might be a corps. Yeah, it's a corps. Mountain corps. So that wraps up production, and I think that's going to wrap this turn up and this episode as well. I think that the next turn might be rather long and rather interesting. And what I think I'm going to do is I got turkey time. I got a few days off for turkey time, so I'll probably do hopefully a couple episodes during that time period. And so I'll probably get this uploaded in the next couple of days, definitely before Thanksgiving. So I will do that. So hey, thanks for watching, and I appreciate the likes and the subscribes, and I definitely like to hear comments, and share if you want to with your friends or whatever. And hey, I will see you soon. And if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving.